The wicked landlady and her tenants. They say the worst landlord is the one who smiles during rent collection and watches you starve behind your door. That was Madame Abo. Everyone in the compound called her the vulture in wrapper. She owned a large rusty face-me-I-face-you house in the house of Ajegunle. 12 rooms, 1 pit toilet, and a noisy bathroom that didn't even have a proper door. But people still lived there because rent was cheap and life was harder. Madame Abo didn't live in the compound, but she was always around. Always watching, always snooping, and always ready to bounce if your rent was late. She would show up with a policeman like you stole her destiny. But that wasn't even the worst part. Madame Abo had a habit, one that sent shivers down our spines. She had a small black radio she always carried, but it was never tuned to any station. She would press her ear to it and whisper things. People said she used it to spy on us. I didn't believe it, until the day she accused Mama Tega of eating Indomie by 12 a.m. Even though she cooked it silently, without lighting the stove flame too high. I see all of you, she said, smiling as her thick tribal marks stretches like angry scar. Even when you think you are hiding, I hear the spirit of the compound whisper to me. That was when people started to leave. First, it was a newlywed couple in room 5. The wife had a miscarriage. It was she heard voices every night calling her name through the wall. One morning, they packed and left before sunrise. No explanation. Then Mr. Sunday, the teller in room 2, lost all his customers within 1 month. Clothes began to disappear from his table overnight. When he asked Madame Abo to check the compound security camera, she laughed. Camera? Who needs camera when I have ears everywhere? But it all came to a head when a young lady, Ruth, moved into room 7. Ruth was a soft-spoken copper. NYC brought her to Lagos. She didn't know the kind of house she was entering. Her smile was too innocent, her spirit too bright for that dark place. On her second day, she swept the entire compound and greeted everybody warmly. Madame Abo arrived with a cold face. So you want to impress people? Better face your room and stop forming holy, she warned. Ruth tried to laugh it off. It was just cleaning. It's normal to sweep where you live, ma. That night, her bulb exploded. We bought another one the next day. It exploded again. He thought it was electric fault. The electrician came, checked, and shook his head. Your wiring is fine. Somebody is playing with jazz here. Still, Ruth refused to give in to fear. She was a pastor's daughter. Every night she prayed loudly in her room. Psalms, tongues, worships. The compound began to feel different. That was when Madame Abo declared war. She came to the compound one evening with her wrapper tightly tied and face fierce. Who told you to bring your church noise here? This is not a holy ground, Ruth replied, respectfully. With due respect, ma, I am only praying in my room. I'm not disturbing anyone. Madame Abo leaned closer. You are disturbing me. That week, strange things began to happen. Ruth's pot disappeared. Her gas cooker stopped working. Her room became unusually cold at night, even in the middle of heat wave. One night, Ruth screamed. We all rushed out. Her mattress was burning from inside. No fire touched it. No candle. Just smoke and a hole in the room. People began to whisper. Madame Abo is using mirror to watch her. Maybe she's the witch. She doesn't want light in this compound. But Ruth wasn't moved. She started morning prayers right in the center of the compound, 6 a.m. sharp, bell in hand. Let us pray. Some tenants joined her. Mama Tega, Brodele, even small Chamaka from room 8. For once, the compound had hope. Then the eviction letters came. All who joined Ruth's prayer were given quit notice. No reason. Just vacate my house in 7 days. Ruth, seeing the tenants, called a tenants meeting. I remember how her voice shook and remained firm. We are not slaves. This woman is using fear to control us. If we leave, someone else will come and suffer. We need to stand. That night, Ruth went to confront Madame Abo alone. She went to her main house in Ijesha. What she saw changed everything. The gentleman didn't stop her. Ah, you be that girl where they sit for that compound? Go in. She did for backyard. Ruth walked in. There behind the house was Madame Abo, sitting in front of a large mirror. Not a regular mirror. This one was cracked, dusty, and tied with red and black thread. She was talking to it. Ruth hid and listened. Show me what they are planning. Show me what they hide. Let them suffer confusion. Suddenly, Madame Abo turned. You are not hiding well, Ruth. Fear cut her throat. How? How did you know I am here? Madame Mabo laughed, deep and wicked. Because this mirror is my eyes. It tells me everything. I control what happens in that compound. Ruth stepped out. Your power ends tonight. Ruth didn't move. She stood her ground, holding her Bible tightly. You may use that mirror to see us, but the God I serve is greater than anything inside it. Madame Mabo hissed. Do you know how long I've used this mirror? That house you lived in, it fits me. Your suffering is my blessing. Every tear you people cry gives me more power. Ruth's voice cracked, but her courage didn't. But no more. We are taking back our lives. No more fear, no more silence. Madame Mabo rose from her stool like a snake on cooling. You want to fight me? A girl like you. She reached for a small calabash by the mirror and sprinkled powder on the ground. Let me see how far your God will take you. Suddenly, Ruth began to pray. Loud, powerful. Her voice shook the air. Father, arise and scatter every darkness. Let your fire consume this evil. Madame Mabo screamed and covered her ears. Stop that noise. Stop it. The mirror began to rattle. The cracked glass reflected not just Ruth, but a shadow behind her. A blazing figure, tall and bright, like a flame standing. Ruth didn't see it, but Madame Mabo did. She stumbled back. Who is behind you? Who is that? Ruth shouted louder, quoting Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. With a loud crack, the mirror shattered. Glass flew into the air like a broken curse. The calabash broke. Madame Mabo fell to the ground, clutching her chest. Ruth stepped forward. Your power is broken. You have no more hold over us. From that night, everything changed. The next morning, the compound was quiet, but peaceful. The heavy air that used to hang like smoke had lifted. Birds were chirping. It felt like something evil had left. Madame Mabo didn't show up again. For 2 weeks, we didn't hear from her. The compound was calm. Even the babies that used to cry at night started sleeping well. A young man in a suit came to the compound. He was holding a file. Good afternoon. Please, I'm from the court. Are you the tenant of this building? We were scared. What is it again? He smiled. The property has been seized. Madame Mabo is under investigation. She's in the hospital. She was found unconscious in her shrine with charms all over her. We couldn't believe it. Hospital? Seized? Yes, he continued. Turns out the property was illegally acquired. Her documents were forged. The government is reprocessing it. Ruth stepped forward. So what happened to us? He looked at her with admiration. Don't worry, anyone who is living here for more than a year will be relocated. As for you, you'll be recommended for an NYSC Community Award. They said you helped dismantle a dangerous criminal. We all clapped and screamed. For once, joy filled our hearts. Weeks later, the house was demolished. It didn't go down quietly. The bulldozer jammed twice. One of the tires burst without reason. But finally it collapsed, like a curse ending. We were moved to a better compound in Surrey. Rooms with windows, working toilets and running water. No mirrors, no whisper, just peace. I remember sitting with Ruth one evening and asking her, how did you do it? Weren't you afraid? She smiled gently. Here is normal, but silence fits evil. Once you stand, even fear will fear you. I nodded. You've changed all our lives. She looked up at the sky. I didn't do anything. I just refused to be quiet. Later, we heard Madame Mabo had recovered but gone blind. She was seen roaming barefoot near Mile 2, muttering to herself. Nobody dared to go near her. Ruth visited her once. She came back and said, she's just a woman now. No power, just bitterness. People begged Ruth to stay in Lagos after NYSC. Churches offered her job, but she said, my work here is done. I need to keep going. There are more Madame Mabos out there. We saw her off at the park. Hugs, prayers, tears. She left with a small bag and a big smile. Years passed, but people still talk about her in that area. The girl who broke the mirror. The copper who silenced evil. As for me, I still live in Surrey. I now teach Sunday school. I tell children about Ruth, not just because she was brave, but because she proved something. That sometimes all it takes to end wickedness is for one person to say no more. Ruth taught us that some battles are not won with fist, but with fire in the spirit and truth on our lips. She didn't come with money. She didn't have weapons, just boldness, and that was enough. Even now, when I walk past a mirror, I look twice, not because I'm afraid, but to remind myself that evil watches and good must stand and fight. Because silence is the greatest home of wickedness, and we, ordinary tenants, chose to be free. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channels.